all
the
in a
extra.
way.
The conference, always. I always think about the conference on the longer one.
Right? I was playing it from a new location, and so I didn't have my drop down menu and
Mm,
or my slowly fade out.
right,
So here we go. Hello,
right.
hello, hello. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am well. I am well.
Good, good. So excited to be here. The last few weeks have been interesting, right? Today we're talking about emotional and mental wellness. And today is tax day for all of those entrepreneurs, the partnerships. And I'm super excited to have partnerships because, like Stacey Abrams, right, I don't have to do things by myself. She talked about that in her book. What that means is new tax papers, right? So I'm excited to have this conversation with our guests about springing into happiness, some laughter, some joy, and how we maintain our wellness through the different things we have to take care of in our business.
Oh, I am so in need of this.
Yeah. I
Since
think
the last time we talked last week,
what?
I was one of the organizers for the Interplay Leaders Gathering, which is
Yes.
always an awesome gathering. But it meant I spent 4 days in my chair. Like, and
Mm,
you know how, like, and so Interplay is so fun and there's so much to do. But
yeah.
then also when you're one of the organizers and you're holding the space and you're responsible and you're handling all the details and like, um, I'm getting great reviews of how much fun people had, but I
Yeah.
realized like I didn't have as much fun as I usually have. So I'm a little
That's the
short
thing.
on fun. So I'm so excited our guest today because she gonna bring some fun. Like I have no
Yes.
doubt. And so we went from the Interplay Leaders Gathering to taxes for partnership. So if you're a solopreneur, don't freak out. You've got until April 15th. If
Right.
you are an LLC, you've got
Yeah.
until April 15th.
Yes,
Don't
you
hear
do.
this and start panicking.
Yes.
Um, but
But do it now.
yeah, but
Don't wait.
well, and then as you know, and most of our listeners know, I've been doing a lot of elder care for my dad,
Mhm.
and we're
Yes.
waiting on a big decision there. So
Yes,
I
yes.
just realized, even as you said that, what I felt in my body is just some extreme adulting lately, like
Yes.
in a way that is kind of next level. That I play and I interplay and I have fun all the time, but it feels like the adulting is overwhelming the play and the fun. I feel
Yeah.
like I gotta get that back into balance, right? Um,
Mm,
and not even talking about what's going on in our world with all the natural disasters and the wars and the
it's
like.
crazy.
There's just so much. It's like
So much.
yes to how do we access that emotional and mental well-being.
Right.
Um, because you and I, we talk about it almost every show, right? We check in with each other and we talk about it,
Right.
and we're resilient. But it's also
Oh,
like,
we need like 2 moments of silence after that for our resiliency.
and I saw a meme recently that somebody said, "Can some? I just really hope that somebody never tells me I'm resilient again. I
They said,
want
"I'm
to
tired of hearing
be."
it."
Right. Well, what they were saying was, let me see if I can look it up because our friend Cecile actually sent it to us,
Yeah.
and it was really powerful in what was sent
Mhm.
because I've seen it a couple of times, and I want to give credit where credit is due.
That's
So
important.
let's see if I can find it really quickly. And I know we need to do our official welcome and all
We
that
do.
jazz.
That's okay.
Um,
This is
well,
what
of
we do.
course,
Women
it's
Connected, we
hard to
go with
pull
the
it up
flow.
on air,
We
right?
pivot, yes.
Um, well, it just feels so relevant, not
Mhm.
relevant. Good
Mhm.
gravy. Okay, it's not coming up. But basically, the whole premise was I want to be able to just rest. Like, I'm a little tired of being resilient. I'm a little tired of having to get back up and do it again. And it just keeps coming like the waves of the ocean, right? Which, grateful for the waves of the ocean. Would love to be at the beach right now. Like, and that feeling of it just keeps coming, it just keeps coming. And so yes to accessing joy and fun, and
Yeah.
our show and Women Connected in Wisdom, because one of the things we know is being connected, not having to do it by ourselves, having community is a lifeline when there's too much adulting going on.
Absolutely. And for a list of different reasons. Can you hear me okay?
I
With this
can.
one in the
Yeah.
okay. One, to remind you of the things that you do well, right? We were talking about, okay, we're setting up our system, looking at everything. What are we going to do next time and throughout this year to be even more organized, to be even better than we were, right? We said we're going to do kudos and shout us out for what we're doing well. And I think that's really important. And community helps with that, right? Get it? Little dance
Right.
break. I also love it for the mirror that it shows you. Like, and kudos is that way sometimes, but it's also,
Mhm.
hey, don't forget this, or um, showing you a blind spot that you might have, something that you never considered, right? Again, this is the first year technically on paper we're partnerships. So that text document is completely different. There's going to be things that you learn as you do it for the first time, and somebody in the community, especially the way we do it with Manifestation Mondays and Women Connected in Wisdom, plugs in that expert and they can say, "Oh, this is what you need. This is what I did
Right.
wrong. Do it
Right.
here. This is free. They're going to try to charge you $1,000. You only need to spend 199, or maybe you do need to go ahead and get the expert or do it differently. So I love it for those reasons too.
I do too. Should we do our official introduction and kick this show off?
We should. Hi ladies, I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and author, the founder of Shalo Glow, an all natural handmade personal products company that helps people glow from head to toe. I'm a champion for your self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hi, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, Amazon best-selling author with my partner and co-host here,
Yes.
Shannon, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, together we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co founders of Women Connected in Wisdom Community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness, and bring on expert guests that can teach us things and give us resources on how to
Yes,
do this.
help me. Help me in this area, right?
Help me.
And like you said, we talk about it all the time, right? Is there a reality of balance? There are those seasons where all this stuff is going on. Or
Right.
even in life, you have different people that have different stories, and we know that in certain families that this month is difficult, or around the
Mhm.
holidays is difficult. So how do we balance the ebbs and flows of our emotional and mental wellness through everything? I think
Right.
when you said that earlier, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, and we've often referenced Stacey Abrams' book, Lead from
Yes.
the Outside, where she talks about work life Jenga,
Hmm.
right? I just had the images you were talking about that in my head. Is I have one little, when you play Jenga, how you have that one little thing where everything's precariously kind of weaving back and forth on, right? I gotta shore it up. Because a
It's never
crash
good
may
for
be coming if I don't shore it up. But
Yeah,
let's be
yeah.
proactive, right?
No,
And
really.
I should be able to get some rest this weekend, which I think will be, between the spring forward in the United States.
That too.
For those of y'all that are not listening from the United States, we have a thing called daylight savings time in the United
Yeah.
States, where they push the clocks forward for an hour at this time of year. So when you're used to getting up at 6 a.m., it feels like in your body it's 5 a.m. And I don't know about you, Shannon, but this messes with me for 2 to 3 days easy every time this happens.
So this is when I've actually been like super adulting this year. And we've been
Okay.
good. Last year, I remember Manifestation Mondays, you and the lady was talking about spring cleaning. I've been early for the spring cleaning this year. This week was the first week we were actually to the farmers market at the time that we said, instead of behind. And even though we were consistently behind, we talked about Cecile and the schedules of the seasons, and maybe we're just at a different time than we expected because it's colder, and we were giving grace and just flowing with the system the way we were running it. But I've been intentional about transitioning well because we know we have
Mm-hmm.
so much going on, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
resting throughout it. And as we've worked on all of this tax organization stuff for the past few weeks, and so I think that this has helped me pace my time a little bit better through the transition.
You have really been doing a good job.
Thank you.
Woo
So have
woo.
you. Woo, woo. And
Yeah. I think
again,
if
like,
I wouldn't have stuck a full week's conference in those 4 days, I'd be doing Yeah, why not? Why not?
the things we stack.
Right?
And yeah, no, it has me thinking about so many different things and ways that we can apply it and talk about it in the community and stuff this year. I'm really excited about it. But I would love to let's bring on our guest and hear more about what she has to say because I have a few questions
All
about
right.
laughter. And I know laughter really helped me. If you ladies have listened to the episodes when I talk about laughter helping me with depression in middle school. So now, tax day, we're talking about adulting. I'm interested to see what I'm gonna learn in this conversation.
You want to give folks the definition of what we're working with, and then I'll read her bio?
Absolutely. Emotional and mental wellness is about being aware and intentional of our feelings in all situations. It includes having the capacity and tools to handle and express these emotions in a healthy manner and the ability to learn and grow from experience. Emotional well being encourages autonomy, useful decision making skills, and striving toward good mental health.
Mm, I love that definition.
Me too. I need to
And I love
memorize all
being
the definitions.
reminded of it. Talking about memorization before I read her bio, like that is one of my skills that I've never really been great at. Like
Mm,
I've always wanted to. Like I have people in my life that are in theater. I have people
yeah.
that like stand up and they do this incredible poem and it's memorized. And
Hmm.
I want to do that. But
Mm,
I don't think it's in my wheelhouse. So I
mm.
like the little holding your phone, like where people can't see it, and doing a little.
For me, I feel like my voice, it can sound robotic and really like too intentional, too professional for some people. So I feel like it'll help me, you know, sound more flowy and genuine.
Oh, if you memorize it?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to give kudos to the fact that now, after 2 years, I can say all 8 dimensions of wellness. Because
Right.
before, I would get to seven and look at you and go,
What,
Shannon, which one am
which
I
one did I not
forgetting?
say? No, it's always a question. And then you go back through them again, the ones you said already. Yeah,
Right?
pretty
All
funny.
right. Well, I am excited for our guest today, and I'd love to go ahead and read her bio and call her up on stage.
Let's do it.
As Chief Adventure Officer of the Adventure Project, Amy Angelilli, I know I probably just butchered her last name, and so when she gets up here, okay, great. Amy is also a
Yes, you said
certified
good too.
laughter yoga leader and a 20-year improvisational theater performer. She teaches improv classes for the stage and facilitates play shops for real world personal and professional applications. She is a soul sister. That's not in her bio. I'm adding that. She has performed and taught in an improv festivals and events all over the country and beyond. She has facilitated improv experiences for summer camps, conferences, retreats, colleges, and businesses. Currently, she leads a 5 level improv training school in St. Augustine, Florida, and facilitates team building, bonding, and development sessions for organizations in person and virtually. Please welcome to the stage, Amy.
Hi.
Woohoo! How are you?
I feel like I have to add a bunch of things after my name because you gals have all these fancy credentials.
Oh, you
I'm just
don't have to
No,
add
that's
I'm
anything.
just
You
telling
are
you laughs.
ah,
no, come as you are.
perfect,
Yes.
right?
What does it say? A 5 level improv training? I think you have enough. You're doing enough, Amy.
Hmm.
Yes.
And laughter is not to be underrated, as you heard us, me especially, whining a little
No, me
bit
too.
before I brought you on stage. Like,
Yeah.
we need this more than ever.
Yes.
Well, I think the main point of all of this is that we need to remember childhood. Or if we can't remember it, we need to look at a child.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
I had a doctor's appointment earlier today and I was watching this little kid and he was just having the time of his life. And he was bothering his big brother and then bothering his big sister and then bothering his mom and then bothering his grandma. And I was like, come on over here. Like, let's do some stuff. And kids laugh all the time and they don't know why they're laughing. They're just laughing because they have joy. And we as grown-ups almost have this sort of like challenge me mentality, right? Like,
Yes, yes.
I bet you can't make me laugh. I bet what you're about to do isn't funny at all. And it's like, well, all right. I mean, you're just doing yourself a disservice.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. No, it's true. It's true, and that's something that I've worked on over the years, right? Is how do you have boundaries with people that you don't know, right? And also be open to whatever they have to bring. Like let this person show you who they are. And you talking about the challenge reminds me of when people would tell me to smile, right? I was a restaurant manager at Papa Door running around and people would be like, "You're so pretty, you should just smile." My thing, excuse me, was always like, you should make me laugh or make me smile and then I'll do it. But to just walk around and smiling is like your cheeks will start hurting after a certain point. I know I would take that pain over other pain, but what do you say when people say that?
I'm always smiling, and I shouldn't say I'm always laughing and smiling. I am trying to always laugh and smile when I'm out
Yeah.
in the world. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I'm here now on my laptop. I have my, comfy yoga clothes on, no
Yeah.
makeup. I feel like Lady Gaga at the Oscars, no
I
hair,
love it.
no
Yeah.
makeup.
Seamless. You kind of look like her a little
I'm
too,
like,
Amy.
I'm
Just
in
to
I can see it.
my niece who's about to turn 5. This is what she says when she talks about working. Come on, Aunt Amy, let's work.
The
Right?
typing.
But, like,
Yes.
when I'm out in the world, and this is improv did this to me,
Yeah.
um, like, I have this sense of curiosity, and it's not, like, I'm not being nosy, I'm just observing,
Like
like.
a wonderment.
and
Right.
awe.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and we often aren't curious because we have been exposed to almost everything we can think of because of the internet. But it's like when I saw that little kid today, I mean, if they hadn't called me back, I would have, we would have gotten to be BFFs. My
Right.
time was cut short. Um,
Right.
but I wanted to know all about this little kid. Um, and even the family, because the family looked interesting, but I'm just naturally curious about people.
Me too.
And when that happens, I feel like there's like a smile behind that curiosity. And so I just got back from a little solo road trip. I drove up to see my parents. They live in the Outer Banks. And then, I spent a few days on the return home, stopping and just wandering.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to observe buildings, observe people, observe signs, observe menus, observe, something
Yes.
that you're not going to see as you sit here at your laptop or whatever. And in turn, I got a lot of smiles along the way. I got a lot of hellos along the way.
Yeah.
Um, but we don't act like that anymore because we've we've taken away that sort of like porch culture, as I call it. When you would
Mm.
like sit on your porch and you would just like chat with
The
your
neighbors and the
neighbors.
people walking by.
Yeah, because
Mm.
now we like, drive into our garages, shut the garage, go into the house, go into the backyard that has a privacy fence around it. And
I
so
love
we have like insular situations.
that's a good point. I love that you said that though, because I love little kids, right? I love happy little kids. Any language, I'm like, oh, listen to their voice. Um, and I think I do exactly what you said, the wonderment. But I think I had to be really intentional about it. I feel like there's different environments. There's like the environment that I live in when I believe you can choose to be free. It's about your mental state where and how you see the world, your perspective, how you see yourself, right? But then you also have to be realistic with the social environment. And so with that, and like I said, being a kitchen manager, we had this rule where if a guest was within a certain amount of feet from you, you would make sure that you speak, right? Don't let this person walk by you and
Mhm.
and not say anything. And so now It's a habit that I have, and I want to always try to make sure that the posture of my heart is correct and I'm doing things again from a genuine place and not just because I was taught and I don't align with it, or I'm just trying to fit into a box that people say I am. And so I'm like, ooh, I don't have to be so hospitable to everybody. I'm not working everywhere I'm at, but I do
Yeah.
absolutely have that communal, like, hey, how are you doing? My name's Shannon, and we can talk easily, so
Yeah.
I love how you
I
put it.
I appreciate you saying about when it's authentic to you, because
Yeah.
when I'm on airplanes, I generally like to sit on the window side so I can get out a book and be by myself. That's a hard place for me to interact. Like I've I found that I've done it many times, even though I say it's hard. But as much as I travel, I generally don't enjoy flying. So it's not, I won't be the instigator,
When you're
but
flying,
yeah. But if
that
somebody
makes
starts
sense.
chatting, or if there's a little kid,
Yeah.
they always just insert themselves.
Yeah, they do.
They're
I'm
the ultimate
exactly like that,
instigator,
Amy.
or
Mm,
dogs, someone with a dog or someone
yeah,
out with a kid, then
I
forget
love
about
it.
it.
Yes.
Me too. I was just thinking the same thing because people, if they met me on a plane, would think I was an introvert because I
Mhm.
do the same thing. I catch the window aisle because I'm in wonder of looking out the window. I'm still like a little kid on the airplane. I'm going to take cloud pictures. I'm going to look for
Yeah.
shapes in the clouds. I'm going to look
Every
for
time.
shapes on the ground. And I'm going to be like, ooh, we're taking off.
It's
Ooh,
me.
we're landing. Ooh, right. And I'm a pretty frequent flyer. But y'all were
Mhm.
saying about awe,
Yeah.
right? I wanted to, because I know both of y'all love books. So I wanted to give this resource. It's a new book out by Dasher Keltner. Have y'all heard of it? It's called
Uh-uh.
Awe, the New Science of Everyday Wonder and
Mm.
How It Can Transform Your Life.
It's so true.
But it's really talking about those moments that are, create wonder. And kids do that, right? Y'all know
Yeah.
my nibblings, 3 years old. Amy, I have 3-year-old twin nibblings, nephews that are in Boulder, and we FaceTime on the regular. And we laugh and giggle and make up words. And they're at 3-year-old. So right now we got a lot of potty humor going on. We have a lot of they went to the zoo recently with my mom, and their whole mission was to see which animal had the stinkiest butt because they're three. And they determined it was the elephants.
Good option.
When we when we were little, and we didn't know that circuses that had elephants were bad. I remember my brother at the circus watching the elephants intently, and afterwards we asked him what his favorite part was, and he said the elephant poop. And now he has his own little kid, and she's all about the poop and the pee and the.
Right.
She taught me, Aunt Amy, dogs pee, poop, and fart outside. People pee, poop, and fart inside.
It's an important distinction.
I was also thinking, y'all, about we titled the show Spring into Happiness. And
Yeah.
Amy, you were talking about those porch sits. And, Shannon and I live in the South. We're in Atlanta. And I live in a cul-de-sac and have a porch. And springtime is one of those happy times for me because people come out. Like we start
Mhm.
working in our yards, we start hollering at each other,
Mhm.
we start gathering, out in the streets where we didn't during the winter because, it was cold or wet or rainy. And we were doing the thing you were talking about going in and not seeing each other. But spring, we start to emerge and connect and say hi and check in with each other. And it kind of, especially in neighborhoods that have kids, it kind of feels a little preemptive to summer. It's like that opening up and blooming towards that.
Well, also you said you live in a cul-de-sac. I used to live on a dead end in the South, and everybody would just be hanging out all the time. My one neighbor, she called all those street conversations the street meetings.
Right?
Yeah.
They saved my bacon through the pandemic. We used to remember back at the beginning of the pandemic when even outside you weren't within 8 feet of each other.
Yeah.
We would all gather our lawn chairs. It was like Friday night. We'd all drag our lawn chairs out after being on the computer all day, and we'd all gather in a circle, 6 to 8 feet apart, and just have a drink and talk about the week and talk about how long we thought this was going to last and laugh and cut up and, sweet, sweet memories that, and yeah, it's precious, those connection times.
That time period that you're talking about, I actually did sit on someone's porch,
Mm.
a friend's porch, and I was like, "Oh my god, it took a pandemic for us to do the porch thing." But
Hmm.
she, like you, Shannon, worked in a restaurant,
Yeah.
worked,
The
6
hours are
days
crazy,
a
right?
week. Yep.
Yeah.
And so here we were sitting on a porch relaxing. Then I
Mhm.
found a dog a few blocks away from where we live, just walking up the street,
Yeah.
and he joined the porch.
Dogs are the best porch sitters. Can I tell you? Like, they're so fun to porch sit with.
Mm.
I love
Yes,
it.
So
that's
we,
that's where they want to be. They think it's like their playroom, right?
Hmm.
And we're all out there trying to get them to behave, like sit nice, shh, behave, be a good neighbor. And
the
they're like,
conditioning,
"What? I'm trying to have fun."
right?
Right? Right? Dogs and kids, right? We should take our cues from.
Really,
Absolutely.
Well, I
I
feel like that was my inspiration for my little, wander over the past few days. I had so many
Mm.
dog kisses. This one dog jumped up at me, like just jumped on me, stuck his tongue in my mouth in a gift shop. I said to his people, "I didn't even get dinner yet."
now.
This gentleman is forward.
What kind
Good.
of dog was he?
He was a mix and just couldn't be any
Mhm.
cuter. Just
Mm.
was just so lovable. You know, to backtrack to something that you said that I earmarked and made a note of, you were talking about awe,
Mhm.
and you mentioned a book that you had read, and I wanted to mention an article that I read. Don't ask me who wrote it, um, but the article was about awe
Mhm.
and our lack of it. Because even if we go to some place we've never been to, we've already seen it in
Mm.
newspapers and magazines and books and the internet. And so we have to work harder for awe. When I got off the train in Venice years ago, that was one of my most favorite moments of awe. And I started crying. And I said to my now ex husband, I said, "Look, the water is really there. It wasn't just a lie." The pictures were
I look forward to the water too. Yeah.
real.
You saying that, Amy, brings up a story that I think about when the first time I went to Disney World. I was an adult. I didn't go as a child.
Oh,
I
wow.
was an adult and I met my sister there with my 4-year-old. And the first moment that I saw the castle and the fireworks, I started tearing up. And of course, I was with my sister. She looks at me, she's like, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "I'm just having a moment." But I realized when you said it, it was that moment of awe. And it was something that I had seen my whole childhood. You see it on the movies, you see it in the shows, but to be physically present with it and experience the body sensation of it, I was a little verklempt. I was like, whoa. It was, yeah. Shannon, what's a moment of awe for you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Ooh, I have one. So it was when I was upside down in the rainforest in Costa Rica for my birthday. Amy, so one year I went to Costa Rica and traveled by myself, met a young lady. Asia's been on the show. She's been on the podcast now. Met Asia. We had been RAs together in college at Kennesaw State. So I went to go travel with her and we took a bus 3 hours away. She was staying in Escazú. We went to Mano Antonio. And the next day we were supposed to go to zip line, right? So I have to paint this picture for you guys because this was crazy. Okay. We drive 3 hours on this bus. We decide to go to the beach and it's kind of overcast, right? It's kind of gray, but it's beautiful. And there's one of the rocks. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this picture before, right? But it's not the day that you see in the pictures because the day you see in the pictures is beautiful oranges and purples and colors you've never seen. Right now, it looks like it's about to rain, right? And it did start raining. We go across the street, it's raining cats and dogs. And thankfully,
You were in the rainforest, right?
wow. No, Amy, it literally just clicked. Hadn't thought about it. We're not even gonna talk about that, okay? So this is why you need community. Sometimes they point
So
the
you learn
obvious
these things.
things. Just clicked. Okay, it's been years. But going into my 30s with more wisdom, right? So it, I guess not so obviously, not so surprisingly, starts raining in the rainforest. So thankfully, again, we're really nice to the server. He takes us home up this winding mountain. Now it makes sense why he was able to drive because he lives in the rainforest. Okay. So he took us back to the hostel we were staying at. She leaves her phone and everything. He's really nice, brings the phone back the morning before we go to Zipline. And with me being so far away from home, with this being my first time zip lining, I thought it might be canceled. Right. But what actually ended up happening was this beautiful view. And so now it's like you think the rain is coming and that you're not going to get what you thought you were going to get, or it's not going to be as beautiful in a life situation. Right. But actually, the rain clears the air for your vision, is what I saw. But clearly, maybe they're used to that in the rainforest, but I was in awe. It was beautiful.
Ooh, that
Yes.
sounds delightful.
Yes, a little adventure, a little adventure. Oh, and Amy, that brings me to you because you're a traveling adventurer, right? So we
I
talked.
was just thinking about my first
Yes,
time there,
yes.
and how the rain doesn't stop anybody from doing anything. You like
Mm.
lean into it even more because,
Mm.
hey, you've come to the rainforest, so we're just all gonna get wet now.
Thank you for that though, because that's life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
things are gonna happen. What are we gonna do? And so, talking about springing into happiness, I would love to talk about how you and your laughter yoga, how that helps leaders, and what you do when you facilitate the offerings that you have to help bring more happiness into people's lives and their work experience.
So, like you were talking about with your 8 things, there are things with laughter yoga, and I'm not gonna tell you how many because in
Gotcha.
case I forget one.
Yeah, no problem.
So, it's breathing, stretching, clapping, laughing, meditating, and relaxing. I think I got them all.
I
Um,
like that.
and so I'll tell you a quick little sidebar that has to do with these. There's seven things. Um, I'm going to be offering more offsites, and I'm working with this organization that helps connect companies looking for offsite activities with people who offer offsite activities. And the gal said to me 2 days ago, she said, "We're almost ready to go live, but we need to know when, how people will be laughing. We need more of an explanation on that point of the seven things. Like will they be laughing at jokes, or will they be laughing because they're going to be improvising? Because we know you also do improv, or like what will, like, how will they be laughing?" And I mean, I thought I had this conversation, but it's quite possible that I completely skipped over it. Um, we're laughing at nothing. Like we have laughter exercises, right? And but we're laughing for no reason, but with a purpose. And that's the part that, like, literally nobody can wrap their head around
Mhm.
before they do it.
Except 2 and 3-year-olds, because they do
Exactly,
that
exactly,
naturally.
exactly. Because when I do them virtually,
Mhm.
and the employees are at home, and their kids are like in the next room, like listening, like, what's going on in there? And I'll tell them, bring the kids in, because the kids help the parents, sort of become less tense.
Yeah.
And then the people that are watching the kids, then, it kind of it has more of a snowball effect, because the kids are like, they're not like, what do I have to do? Is this right? Like, I feel awkward. The kids are just,
Yeah. Doing it
what?
and laughing.
Yeah,
Laughing is contagious like a yawn. You start
right.
laughing and the next person starts laughing and then they catch their laugh and then they can't stop and you start again and here we go.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So at the beginning, you know, we're laughing in that awkward way because I'm teeing up exercise, like
Yeah.
cell phone laughter. Pretend you're getting a call and you're laughing as you're getting the call, and people look at me like, "Are you nuts?" Right?
Let's do it.
But
I
when
might
we
be.
do it, right? When we do it, now we two are doing it.
Yeah.
The longer you do it,
Yeah.
the more you're going to do it, because you're
Yeah.
going to see each other doing it. You're
Mhm.
going to
Right?
hear each other doing it. Your energies are going to mix, and then you're going to end up doing more of it. And then we'll move into, I don't know, maybe zombie laughter, or maybe wild animal laughter, or
Mhm.
whatever it is. And yes, it is ridiculous. The point is, if you say yes and give yourself permission to do it, because all of this is about giving yourself permission, right?
Yes.
To laugh, um, then you become a catalyst for everybody else in the space.
I love
Mm,
it. But
mm.
and we might not have time to go into all the different labs. What I love about this is that me and my roommate in college, we used to do this and we would start laughing and we would just change it and go to like, we'd be really silly, and just make up 3, 4, or 5 different laughs and just keep going. So are there different purposes? Like we know with the Kukuwa Africa dance, we have one of our authors. There's different motions that mean different things. Are there different laughs that mean different things?
So I don't think it's so much about meaning as it is about the breath work
Mm,
and the body.
got
So
it.
there's ultimately three laughs. There's the hee hees, which are in your neck. Take a deep breath and let out your hee hee. Hee hee hee. You feel that in your throat, right?
You have a great
Yeah,
hee hee, Shannon.
thanks.
We,
Okay.
we rarely like choose the hee hee, right?
Mm,
Mhm, mhm.
So we could choose the hee hee. Then the
okay.
next one is the ha ha, which
Mm,
maybe is a little bit more in alignment with, our natural laughter style. But
okay.
our ha ha's are in our chest. So go ahead and take
Okay.
another deep breath. Ha ha ha
Ha
ha.
ha 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 ha. Okay.
And then you know where we're going now, the ho hos. And the ho hos are in the tummy, right? The Santa Claus laughter. Deep breath in.
Oh yeah, the deep breath.
Ho 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 ho.
Oh.
And then do you go oh
I'll say, like I will walk people through that. And
yeah.
then, a couple exercises later, I'll say, all right, now I want to get all the three of those into one
Mm,
exercise.
yeah.
So make sure as you move around the space, if we're in person or if we're sharing it, via a square on Zoom, make
Yeah.
sure you hit all three of those as many times as you
Mhm.
can. And,
Mhm.
those are the two most important things with laughter yoga: the breathing and the laughing. The breathing, because we don't take enough time to intentionally take breaths.
Mhm.
And it's so, so good for us. Such a simple thing that we don't intentionally, like Shannon talks about being intentional, we don't intentionally think to do enough of. And then the laughter is the other thing that we don't think to do enough of. All those other things are, of course, great. You know, a lot of times people who work hunched over desks will like get up to walk around, take a stretch or whatever. But rarely will people, get up to take some breaths and to, take some laughs,
Some laughs.
right? as
Mm,
as part of that breath work. And you think of any staff meeting, team meeting, like literally 5 minutes at the top, to take a few breaths, to take a few stretches, and to take a few laughs without even doing an entire session. It just sets you up in a good frame of mind emotionally um, and physically too.
It's
I love
such
it.
a release. Like in interplay, we have a term called exformation. It's a made up word. Like, it's the opposite of information, it's exformation. And laughter to me is exforming. So
Hmm.
anytime I exform, I have more expansiveness and room for growth and room for just more like interaction and, just that expansiveness you feel in your body. And I always feel that after laughter yoga or after laughing.
Mm. Me too. And I love it because I do have stretch on the checklist, fresh air, right? Not to make it logical. I'm intentional about not making it too logical. Maybe I'm too logical about that too. But I think that adding the laugh back to it would be good. A stretch and a laugh. I'm going
Do
to do it.
you all know Goldie Hawn, the actress?
Yeah.
No.
Well, of course.
Goldie's daughter, the
Oh,
actress,
no.
Kate Hudson.
Yes.
So Kate Hudson's mom
Wow.
is Goldie Hawn,
Okay.
and she used to be on a show in the '60s called Laugh-In,
Mm,
Mhm.
and she is a laughter yoga practitioner.
I
And
mm.
didn't know that.
you
That's
didn't know that?
really cool.
We actually have a move called the Goldie. She practices by herself in her mirror in the bathroom every morning to get her day off on the right foot. But we
Mm.
have something called the Goldie.
Okay.
So you do a little bend if you're sitting.
Yes.
Great. So you don't have to do a bending your knees because you're already there, right?
Got it.
So you're going to lean over at the waist only to the
Hmm.
point that feels good.
Okay.
You'll cross your wrists. And then as you come up, you're going to zigzag your arms to the point where you make a Y, getting that nice chest stretch. Looks like you're
Yes.
looking at your boobs. I call this the chicken, right?
Yes.
And then with your arms up in the air, you'll say the word yes.
Yes.
Mm.
All right, let's do that
Okay.
Oh, I
together.
like it. So you bend over.
Let's do one big
Okay.
Goldie.
Yes.
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 I love
I think I'm
that.
adding it. I try to say yes. I think it's important to balance yes and no. Right. And I also think it's important to tell yourself yes more than you tell yourself no. So I love doing a Goldie in the morning to start my day off with a physical yes. I like that.
It
Thank you.
also helps us with our like hunchy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Almost all the stretches that I concentrate in laughter yoga are for this
Yeah.
purpose.
Anytime I think about
Right?
this, I think about the bend and snap. Okay, so Amy, we're about to get to our wisdom in action, but before we get there, I have one more question because we talk about work, right? We talk a lot about how we help other people. You, as a laughter yoga practitioner, and everything that you do to help teams and individuals, how do you make sure that you maintain your wellness in this area as you pour out to so many people?
Oh my gosh, what you all were saying at the top about helping to run something. And yes, it was fun. And now I need my cup filled. Um, a couple weeks ago, one of my improv students was doing um, a little whodunit murder mystery. And it was on a night that I didn't have to teach. I didn't have one of my own shows. It was completely free. I was the first one to buy a ticket. And I was so happy I could sit and laugh and eat and drink and just like be in the moment without worrying about, is everyone learning? Is everyone thriving? Is
Right.
everyone,
Which
moving?
part is next?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love doing all that. Like, I love teaching, I love facilitating. And like Christine said, sometimes you don't want to be resilient, or sometimes you don't want to be in charge, or sometimes you don't want to have a responsibility. You
Yeah.
just want to be.
Hmm.
And so those things I look for to place into my schedule
Mhm.
so that, you know, I'm just showing up and doing, being whatever the thing is, and leaning into that
Yeah.
without the responsibility part of it.
I hear you.
That reminds
Thank you.
me of Sandra Dalton. I believe it was our guest, Sandra Dalton, who did the different types of rest, Amy. And what you're describing is creative rest. And thank you for that reminder. Like when we are creatives and when we're outputting and when we're doing and facilitating and going, right? And creating groups and creating classes and creating laughter, that often we need to pause and take a creative rest and be in awe or enjoyment of somebody else's creative
Yep.
thing that they did. It really, whew, yum. Thanks for that reminder. Like, what
Yes.
a joy that it was one of your students too, having a murder mystery. Like,
Oh yeah, so fun.
Mm,
Or even like a traditional yoga class. Like I've been practicing traditional yoga for 20 years and I'm still not flexible. I still go. I'm in the back laughing at myself, you know, but
yeah,
I always feel better, stepping out than when I stepped in,
I
and
hear
so
you.
I'm gonna keep going.
And I was thinking about you earlier. I said I can't wait to have this conversation with Amy because one of my followers, I met her the other day at Le Meridian. I was out with Shalo Glow, my shea butter company, and she does yoga, right? So she has a mobile bartending business, but Stephanie was in this yoga pose, right? And she was talking about how sometimes she'll love it, sometimes she'll hate it, but she loves going every single time because an hour after you have that great feeling and you're like, this is why I do it. So when somebody doesn't see the difference, if they've never done laughter yoga and they're like, okay, I do normal yoga, I've done hot yoga, all these different things, what do you see as the connection between the laughter and the physical wellness that it's helped you and the people who come to your classes with?
Well, I remember being in a laughter club in Denver, and I had foot surgery. And as soon as I was cleared to leave the house, one of the gals from the laughter club would pick me up and take me to laughter club, and I could sit in a chair and participate. I mean, you don't have to participate in laughter yoga. You literally don't have to be anything except willing to say yes. It's good for all ages, all physical types, anybody and everybody. And I love that it is sort of like the great equalizer. So it doesn't matter, you know, what your physical capacity is, what your
Right.
mental capacity is. Can
Mm,
you go along for this ride in the next 45 to 60 minutes? Then you're doing it.
yeah. Mm.
it has been a minute since I've been to a laughter yoga class. And Amy, I heard you say you do it online.
I do.
Okay, we're going to put a link to that in our show notes for our listeners. But can you tell folks how they find you?
Oh, sure. It's adventure-project.com.
Mm. All right, adventure-project.com. And yeah, I was just this whole conversation. I've been having these memory bubbles kind of floating about the different times, like I've laughed so hard, like my stomach's hurt, or who I've been with, or the story my sister tells about the time she ate hummus and then went to yoga. And right? Any of us that have been to yoga before know what happened there. One of my favorite stories of all time, not mine to tell, but it makes me laugh just thinking about it. And I just think about the connections with those people that I can go years without talking to them, and then we see each other and we instantly fall into it because the shared connection of laughter and how powerful those moments are in our lives. Yeah, I just
That's how I feel about improv classes. Like I'm still friendly with people from improv classes I took when I first moved to Denver in like 2007.
yeah.
And a lot of my students continue, to take the next level because of the way the activities that we're doing make it so easy to bond with the people around them. And so they're like a tight unit and they want to continue to do the work. They have no intention of ever performing. They're not doing it for that. They're doing it for the community and the transformational power.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as I'm getting ready to launch a new level 1 next week, what you said made me laugh because I'm getting these questions from lots of gals who are asking me, I want to sign up for the beginning improv class, but I've never done anything like this before. I don't know if I could do anything like this. I'm middle-aged. I'm a curmudgeon. I'm going through menopause. And I'm like, believe it or not, I've heard all those things many times.
And that
You
makes
are
for some
perfect.
of the funniest improv too. Give
Mm.
me somebody who's having a power surge and let's improv. Absolutely.
And, the other thing is we all improvise every day because we have no idea
Right.
what we're going to say, how we're going to say it, who we're going to say it to, what thing that was unexpected might come up. So
Right.
imagine the fun of, getting some training in a fun, supportive environment where you'll make friends and laugh a lot doing it.
And I can say it's really interesting to me the fact that this is a whole practice like this. Again, how I shared part of my story from middle school, knowing that I said, hey, I have to add laughter every single day. Like Christine said at the beginning, we cannot minimize that. That by itself, I think, makes it worth going to one of your classes. And there's 5 different levels they can go to, and increase with their group to add it to your life, especially with everything that's going on and how much access we have to different people and different stories. I think that a way to release that in a healthy way and add more joy can only help.
And you said such an important word, practice.
Mhm.
Because does anybody ever wake up one morning and say, like, well, I've arrived. I know all the improv things now.
Mhm. No,
Right?
especially if it's improv.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Right.
well, I know that chick,
Right.
I am also going to put a link in our show notes. I know it's time for us to go to Wisdom in Action, but I didn't realize that laughter yoga started in India.
Oh yeah, it started.
That's
It
awesome.
started with a medical doctor
Mhm.
studying the benefits of laughter,
Mm.
and he told stale jokes day after day, and expected these poor people to continue laughing.
Not the poor people.
I mean, imagine the guy's not a comedian,
Mm.
so day one he tells jokes that are not good. Day
Mhm.
two he tells the same jokes that weren't good on day one.
Got it.
Day three the same. So he asks the question, who knows the difference between real laughter or fake laughter, the mind or the body? Just the mind. The benefits for the body are the same.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Yes.
love that. Well, I'm putting a link to that also in our show notes so folks can check it out because I like to go deep on some of these things. And that is really cool, Amy.
I
Mhm.
mean, he wrote a book.
What is it? Laughter yoga. Love it.
Okay.
And again, what you said, even if it's real or not, what I know too, especially with the psychology degree, sometimes if I'm not feeling it, I'll just smile, because smiling will change those chemicals in the brain. So sometimes if I hadn't laughed that day, it might have needed to start as a fake laugh. And just like we sounded kind of practiced and it went into an authentic laugh, it's a quick transition.
Well, that's part of what Goldie does in the morning.
Yeah.
She rubs her cheeks
Yeah.
and then turns her face into a smile.
Mm,
And it looks really ridiculous,
that's fine.
but this is, part.
I
Oh,
love it,
I like
Amy.
it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna add it. Okay. So, ladies, if you have one wisdom in action for the week that's for the dimension, emotional and mental wellness, what are you working on?
I got one.
What's yours?
Let go.
Mm,
Mm.
For me, as soon as I start letting go, then I start to feel the tension release from my neck and shoulders.
mhm,
And then I'm able to move from this face to this face.
mhm.
Right?
That tightness in the jaw,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
you're carrying things around.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a reminder to practice that word again,
Yeah.
practice,
Yeah.
practice what I preach.
Mm.
Mm. Ooh, I'm joining you, Amy. I think my hashtag is going to be laugh more.
Oh, I like that.
Laugh more. I'm
Laugh
going
more.
to just
Ha!
I actually want to say to y'all, I know I need it so much right now. I have this new app called Dailyo. It's like an app tracker. So you're like it's talking about emotional and mental wellness. Like you can
Mhm.
put your goals in there, but you can just track like your water intake, your exercise, but you put a goal. And one of my goal right now is laugh. I'm on a 34-day streak, just so y'all know, of laughing every day.
Good.
So
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say the opposite, and I was about to
But I
cry.
knew you weren't gonna lie.
no,
I thought you were gonna say
no,
the opposite too. Good
no.
job.
Do you remember I got those 3-year-old nibblings in my back pocket?
Mm.
So if I'm ever really stuck, I just do a FaceTime and
Yep.
it's on.
Mm.
So
Same with my
Mm.
niece. And is that your name for them, or do they call themselves that?
so my sister,
Nibblings?
she didn't know if she was having boys or girls, and nibblings is the gender neutral term for siblings. So they are my nibblings, and they always will be. So
Oh,
they know they're my nibblings, and
that's
they call
so
me
cool.
Tia. And so I am their Tia, and they are my nibblings. And yeah, it's a love affair for the ages.
I
I
love
write
it.
them books. We do all kinds of things
And
together.
they're coming down to Georgia soon.
They're coming to Georgia in a couple of weeks. It's gonna be fun.
Okay, ladies, mine is hashtag Goldies in the morning. Yes, I'm gonna
Oh!
do it. Goldies in the morning. And that's because last time, Christine, my wisdom in action was not an action. So you guys can hold me accountable. If the hashtag is not actionable, we can change it to make sure that we're specific. But yeah, I'm gonna
No,
do
Shannon's gonna get off this, and she's gonna go Google Goldie Hawn just to
Oh,
make
you
sure we're
know
not
it.
making up this person.
Well,
yes.
I'm also putting her in our show notes because she had a laughter challenge, and
Mm,
so I'm putting her in our show notes for folks that are
laughter.
Shannon's age. They
Mhm.
can find out who Goldie Hawn is.
Right? I was like, who?
I
Yes.
stayed at this retro motel for 2 nights in Charleston,
Yeah.
just a few days ago, and when you go in your room, they have not Johnny Cash, Johnny Carson on. Shannon, you know who Johnny Carson is, right?
I've heard the name. I'm usually not the person to know people anyways, Amy. I'm usually not.
Okay, write him down too. But
Okay, who did you say?
the
Johnny
episode was
Carson?
Johnny Carson. The episode that was
Okay.
on had Goldie Hawn on it. And at
Mm,
Mm.
first I didn't recognize her because it was from, who knows how many years ago. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh my God, that beautiful blonde young woman is so familiar." And then it hit me. I must have been a kid when that episode was on.
mm,
Shannon was but a seedling.
right.
Right,
Yes.
right. Shout outs to Goldie Hawn for making us laugh for all these years.
Yeah.
Anybody that
Oh
makes
yeah.
us laugh. Like, thank you, Amy, for your work in the world.
Yes.
And I know when we did our coffee and chat, I'm like, we have to connect and do some work together
Yeah.
because between your laughter yoga and improv and interplay, like we got to create something fun.
It'd
I
be
think
so
it
much
would be
fun.
I think it would be a ton of fun. So
Yes.
We got to create inner improv play laugh.
Mm. Mm. Wait, Christine, you do.
Pretty catchy.
right?
Have fun with that
Right?
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's not. Amy, thank you for so much for being with us. We are out of time, but we are so grateful to know you and be connected. And we just look forward to keeping up with you and what you're up to and come back and talk to us more.
I'd love to. And you gals are so fun and so easy to be around. So
Thank you.
make sure you keep, spreading yourself. Imagine you're in this basket
Yes.
and you're
Right?
spreading yourself from this basket.
Thank you.
I
Yes.
like
That's
it.
beautiful.
I
Yeah.
just got pictures of rose petals with mine
Me
and
too.
Shannon's faces
Petals.
on
Oh
them.
my goodness. Beautiful rose petals.
Smells so nice.
They're laughing, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much for this
Thank
laugh
you.
today. This was awesome, Amy. Thank you.
Definitely needed. Right on time. The
Whoa,
perfect
I
show to
needed
come
that
on.
today.
Yes.
Perfect show. Perfect
Yes.
show. So grateful, my friend, because you often make me laugh and we laugh together
We
and
do.
dance and play. And
We
so
do.
grateful to be in this work with you.
Yeah, and like we said, we're talking about emotional, mental wellness. Your stuff that you shared with us, is not removed from me. We talk about it all the time. So me laughing in order to support you, you laughing when
Mhm.
you support me, it's needed on
Mhm.
both ends. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we will be back next week, y'all,
Yes,
for episode.
cool.
What are
That's a
we at?
great.
108
I
next
think it
week?
is 108. Let's
What?
see. Yes. No. 108 next week. Yes, it
There
is.
we
Yep, for
go.
social wellness. Thank you so much for joining us in our episode on spring and into happiness. We'll again see you live at 5 next week. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. Peace.